So, Kellen, tell me, what is the World Cup?
The World Cup is a soccer tournament in which 32 countries play against each other to become the world champion.
And when did the World Cup first start?
The first ever World Cup was in 1930, and it was in Brazil.
How often does the World Cup occur?
The World Cup occurs every 4 years.
And where is the World Cup this year?
This year it's in Russia, and I'm really excited.
So how do teams qualify to be in the World Cup?
Teams battle it out in their continent within each other, and usually 4 to 8 teams in each continent go to the World Cup.
So what are the unexpected teams who did not qualify for this upcoming World Cup?
So there's 3 unexpected teams, and the first one is the Netherlands or Holland, and they have a really good team, and they made it to the finals in 2010 versus Spain, but they were not able to win. And then another one, we have Italy. Italy's always a solid squad. They won in 2006. And last one is the U.S., and I mean, the U.S. isn't very good, but it's a disappointment to not see them in the World Cup.
So who is one American that is really disappointed he's not going to the World Cup this year?
One American is Christian Pulisic, and he's a really good footballer. He's been playing soccer or football for a very long time now, and he's been playing for a top club, Dortmund, and yeah, he's disappointed to not go to the World Cup.
And where is Dortmund located?
Dortmund is in Germany.
So where did the last 2 World Cups occur and who won?
The last 2 World Cups occurred in, the last one was in 2014, and it was in Brazil, and Germany won. And in 2010, Spain won.
So there's a poster behind you that says 2018 FIFA World Cup Russia. Tell me a little bit about that poster.
Well, for the upcoming World Cup, it's in Russia. Yep. And so we have 8 groups and 32 teams in total, so 4 in each group. And there's usually 1 top team in each group, and so 2 teams at least go through out of the 4, and they go to the quarterfinals, then the semifinals, and then the finals if they do well.
Do you want to tell me about some of the top teams competing in the World Cup and maybe about some of their players?
We have Germany. Germany's solid. They won last year. They have a good player named Müller, and Royce is coming back from injury. He didn't play in the last World Cup because he was injured. But yeah, and so then we have Spain. Spain is always solid. They won in 2010. And they have a really good midfielder that's retiring from club play named Iniesta, and he's one of my favorite midfielders. And then we have France. France has a really young, strong squad this year. They have Ousmane Dembele, one of my favorite players. He plays right wing, and he's really fast and really skillful with the ball.
So who are some of the teams that qualified for the World Cup this year that was a surprise?
Well, we have Panama. Panama is, I don't recall them being in a World Cup often. And we have Iceland. Iceland has really stepped up their game. They have never been a really good club in soccer, and they have a really small amount of people in Iceland, so that's surprising. We also have Colombia, Senegal, and let's see, Iran. Those aren't the best teams, but they try to make the best of it.
And who do you think is going to win the World Cup?
I think France is going to win the World Cup because they have a really strong young squad. If they don't win it this year, then they'll win it in the next 4 years. In 4 years. But personally, I want Germany to win, but I'm not sure they're going to win. But yeah. Spain also has a good chance once again.
And when can we expect to see the first game televised for this year's World Cup?
The first game televised is around the 14th to the 16th, I believe.
Of which month?
Of June.
And how long does the World Cup go?
Goes for about a month usually.
Okay, so we know what you're going to be doing for about a month this summer, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
Watching a lot of good soccer, or as they say in the rest of the world,
Football, yeah.
Win the World Cup.
I think that Belgium is going to win the World Cup
Why?
because they're more superior than any other team in their midfield and attack.
All right. So, Brian, who do you think's going to win the World Cup this year?
I think Argentina might take it all.
Why is that?
Well, because they got the best player in the world on their team.
Finn, who do you think's going to win the World Cup this year?
Argentina.
Why?
I don't know.
Sorrel, who do you think's going to win the World Cup?
I think Germany's going to win the World Cup because they have a lot of good players and they won the last World Cup.
Who is their best player?
Probably Özil.
What's up, Kevin? Who do you think's going to win the World Cup?
Brazil, 2018.
Who do you think's going to win the World Cup?
Argentina.
Why is that? So, Michael, who do you think's going to win the World Cup this year?
Brazil,
Why?
because they have Neymar, obviously.
So, Gabe, who do you think's going to win the World Cup this year?
Germany.
Why?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
AJ, who do you think's going to win the World Cup?
I'm gonna say Portugal because of Ronaldo and his new shoes.
All right, Easton, who do you think's going to win the World Cup?
I think France has a really good chance at winning. They have a lot of young talent, and I believe that the young kids could really show up and run it.
Who do you think's going to win the World Cup this year?
I don't follow soccer.
What's up, Kellen?
So, who do you think's going to win the World Cup this year?
Well, I don't want to say this, but I think it's gonna be Germany.
Why?
Because, well, I don't want them to win again, but it's looking like they're going to. Because like their squad is just too. Like I don't see anyone beating them.
Luis, who do you think's going to win the World Cup this year?
Germany.
All right. Turns out Belgium got 1 vote, Argentina got 3 votes, Germany got 4, Brazil got 2, Portugal got 1, and France got 2. So it's looking like Germany's gonna win by my film or documentary.